Hi everyone, Sabrina here at Books of the Wine Bag with a book review for Katabasis. Apparently Rebecca doesn't mind how we pronounce the title, so everyone has their own way of saying this and that's absolutely fine. So for those of you that have been living under a rock for the last couple of months, Katabasis is the journey of two academic students from Cambridge as they journey into the bowels of hell to go and rescue their dead professor who they need in order to pass grades and succeed in the world of academia. I love this book so much. I've actually left the notes downstairs because I can't annotate as I'm reading because I just get wrapped up in reading. So I tried taking notes for it. I got about 40% of the way through and realised I'd stopped taking notes because I was just enjoying the story so much. This actually made me laugh out loud. This tore at my heartstrings, this made me angry. I was blown away really by how many different feelings I could have in a single chapter in a book. I don't know quite how Rebecca's done it, but she's basically written this book that is full of references, academic references and literature references to hell over the centuries, and yet made it so I did not feel stupid once reading anything in here. You don't need to do background reading for this. Anyone telling you you've got to read all these books is lying. You can pick up this book and know nothing about any literature or any theories of hell and enjoy it, because the portrayal of hell in here is how an academic would see hell. The whole concept behind this vision of hell is hell is a mirror to the world that you experience. So if you're an academic, hell is going to be pretty much the academia world. That's how you would see it. I love that Pride was a library, and there were definitely a couple of nods to book collectors, so people who only collect books but don't actually read them. There was definitely a knock against them in there. There was another one about people who hoard books. I just thought, is Rebecca trying to tell us something here, that we should be enjoying our books, we shouldn't be hoarding lots of different collections of books, we should read our books and love our books? Really interesting, really funny though. And then as the academics move their way through hell, it moves more into the abstract, because obviously they've studied hell in order to do this journey, so they have all these like ideas of what hell would look like based on the readings they have. So it's an amalgamation of everything that they have expected to see in hell. Certainly my idea of hell would be a busy clothing shop. Gross. You know, so you don't need to understand all the literature and the background and the history and the theories, because it's these academics' personal view of hell. So don't worry about it. Jump in and enjoy it. I loved Alice as a character. She reminded me very much of a lot of people that I've met who want to achieve. They're trying to walk that fine line between being true to who they are but also kind of sucking up into the world so they are accepted as serious people, as people who know what they're talking about. And it's really interesting reading some of the later chapters about Alice's experience in being at Cambridge, clearly as a woman who has mixed heritage herself. She's come from America to get onto this course and all that, and she's having to deal with obviously all the cultural boundaries between America and Britain, but also, you know, the sexism that is rife within academia. And I know we go, oh no, it's not. Well, have you walked in a school recently? Because sexism is rife. It's rife between pupils and teachers, it's rife between teachers, it's rife between different management levels, and clearly this just continues further and further up into further education, into the academia side of things, into research. Sexism is rife. Guys, get over yourselves. So I love that. So Alice she's got flaws. She's not perfect. But seeing her work through this journey of like her own personal hell, really, understanding who she is, what she wants from life, it was quite fascinating to see her broken right down and then build herself back up, which, you know, kind of is a hell. And then you've got Peter, who is this like a smart guy who doesn't have to try. He's got good looks, he's popular, and then he's got his own story going on underneath. You find out why he is like eccentric, why he has this behavior that is deemed part of just who he is. And his chapter later on is heart-wrenching to read. You know, Peter suffers from a chronic disability. He has Crohn's, and I found out, I didn't even know this, I found out Rebecca's husband has Crohn's, and so there was clearly a lot of personal details that were in Peter's backstory and his life that he'd been through. and just how someone with a chronic illness is looked upon by those who have no understanding of what that actually means, who think they're being kind but actually being pitiful to them. And it's like, we don't want your pity, just let us live, you know, support us if you want, but do not feel pity for us. It's the worst thing you could do to someone with a chronic illness. And his chapter really hit, and it was one of the chapters that actually made me quite cross, the way that he has been treated throughout his entire life. And then obviously he's gone into academia and he's decided, I'm not going to tell anyone I've got this illness because they'll pity me because of an experience he has. And then to find out that he's told the one person, he's like, I have to tell you. And the minute his illness flares up, his professor literally like, well, you're too weak. You're not made out for this job. And literally demeans him for something that's completely out of his control. And it's like, you know, this guy has worked blooming hard. He's smart as anything. He's done everything he can. And it's still not enough for this arsehole of a professor. Needless to say, I do not like Professor Grimes. This is the guy that Peter and Alice have gone to go and rescue. He totally deserves to be in hell. He totally deserves torture and internal damnation for the way he treats these two young individuals. He is the epitome of an academic who thinks he can do what he wants because he once had respect and that, and he rides on the coattails of his past victories. He's not a nice man. Alice makes excuses for his behaviour. He's just not nice. He is sexist. He is abusive, emotionally abusive, physically abusive, and yes, sexual abuse. He is everything that's wrong with positions of authority and positions of power in our world. And the trouble is, we all know someone like this man. He's just horrible. He's a bully. And frankly, needed taken down a peg or two. So, I mean, I quite like what happens to him in the end. I'm quite good with that. And it really sort of cements Alice's personal journey, that she stops defending his actions. She stops holding him up on this pedestal and realises actually he's a piece of shit. And she can do better than that. There is romance in this story. It's very subtle. It's very slow burn. I wouldn't even say it was enemies to lovers because they are rival academics. It's just a competition to be the best you can, to be the top dog. They're not enemies though. They don't hate each other's guts. It's just like, I need to be better than you. But the way the romance unravels, and you can see that spark between them well before they do. Even though Alice is telling the story, you can still see that spark very early on, and to watch it just bloom is beautiful. It's quite sweet in a way, how it's all handled, how this soft romance is brought to light, goes through its hardship, and then they step out at the end and it's like, I'm gonna go and live. But it's also the friendship that they make going through hell, literally. You know, they become friends, they care very deeply for each other, and they meet Elspeth as well, who was a former victim of Professor Grimes, and she's like this adventurer in hell. She floats on the river Leith, can't quite remember how you pronounce that one, to go to hell, and they want to be the first to come back from hell, which has turned them psychotic and evil, and they have these creepy little bone creatures which are awful and yeah, gross. The imagery in this is beautiful and stark and frankly sometimes freaking terrifying. But then it's hell. It's supposed to be unsettling. It's supposed to suck you in with its beauty and then hit you with the dark behind it. I really have enjoyed reading this book. I'm glad I savoured it a bit. I was planning to read it very, very quickly and I haven't been able to. I've been tired. So I've managed to enjoy reading it and just taking in all these bits. Like I said, I was going to annotate it, but I can't annotate and read at the same time. I have got a few notes, but I would like to reread this fairly soon so I can sit and annotate it, pull out all those references. You know, there's Tolkien references in here, Lember spread, which someone amusingly pointed out is a Nature Valley bar, and it's like, well, now you come to mention it. I have them for breakfast and I absolutely adore them. They do their job brilliantly. But it's little things like that. Peter's brought Tolkien, he's brought Lord of the Rings with him to read when he's in hell, and it's like, and whereas Alice has brought oh my God, I can't remember what Alice has brought. It's like this really like academic, high brow book that I wouldn't touch for a million years because I don't have the brain for that. And he's brought Lord of the Rings, and it's like, yeah, I like Peter. I like Peter a lot, you know. It's things like that, you know, what book would you take to hell with you? That's like, that's a really good question. Would you take a Tried and Trusted, which Peter has done, or would you take something you haven't read before, which is what Alice does? I really enjoyed this. I think there's a lot to take from it if you want to take from the book. If you just want to enjoy it for this slow romance and a journey through hell and a journey of self-discovery and self-respect, then you can just go with that as well. Do I need an explanation of the world? No. Magic exists in this world. It's mainly used for research now, or stage magicians. Think Darren Brown, think Paul Daniels. That's how I imagine that magic is used for. It's entertainment or it's serious scientific research. It's had its heyday in the Second World War, which is where Professor Grimes made his name. It's just part of our world, and I find that really, like, that's fine, that's cool, I don't worry about it. And yes, we can have full-blown fantasy alongside magic in our own world, because the magic in our world is clearly being used very differently from the magic in Lord of the Rings. I think there are different elements to magic. I'm happy with it. I really appreciated not having to read footnotes for this world. I really enjoyed the flashbacks that we had, learning Alice's background, the academia that she experiences at Cambridge. I really enjoyed, you know, just the bounce between the two main characters and then those that they met in hell. It was just a delight to read. I really liked it. So if that kind of appeals to you, if that sounds like your sort of thing, and you've not read any R.F. Kuang before, please give Katabasis a go. It's not too heavy. It's just over 500 pages long, but this is quite a large font, to be honest. So it's not dense. It's not like Will of the Many, which I'm sorry, I've had to stop reading because it's physically hurting my eyes. So I'm either going to have to try it on an audiobook, or I'm just going to say, no, I can't do this. But Katabasis, it's an easy read at its heart about people. And I really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, leave your thoughts down below. As you can tell, I've talked spoilers, so feel free downstairs to talk spoilers. But thank you very much for listening to my rambling thoughts on this. Happy reading, and bye.